Hi folks, welcome back to the Carver's Wood Shop. We're going to be putting the feathers on. What I had you do is sand everything up nicely. I told you about this sanding block that's flexible that I got at the dollar store. One thing I forgot to tell you on the last segment was that we needed to extend this line up. And do a stop cut and undercut it this way. Put the stop cut in to meet that round portion and undercut it. Okay, after that I had you sand everything up, and it should be fairly non-bumpy all over. So now we're going to do what we did in the first segment. We're going to put these feathers back on. So we're going to start from the top here, do a half of one, and kind of lay them out a little bit. And remember how we got rid of that shingle look. It's one on top of the other, so I'm going to do that here. Okay. Now let me switch that around a little bit. Let me have that go like that. And this one, we'll have that one go like that. Okay? So that's our first set of feathering. And then remember, this is the hump at the bottom, at the very top. It's where our first feather will go. And then you put the other one underneath there, about 1/4 of an inch or so difference. Okay. And sometimes if you have them slightly turning from here over, like a little bit of a curvature, that helps sometimes. Okay, and now we're going to do the ones on the top. These are the next segment here. That'll be your first one. These are a little bit closer together, and they're going to be cut out a little bit. You see that little difference there? And it's going to have a little point. Okay. So, and then our back feathers here, right here, they're going to overlap. So the top one is your top. I think I'll only put about 3 in. Okay? Hang on just a second here. Alright, anyway. So we got our feathering back in. And this is the tough part, because we're going to do this all by hand. So what you need to do is, let me get my glasses on. I think they're here somewhere. I can see it from further away. I have the camera in my way. And I'm going to show you a couple of these online, and then I'm going to do half of them, and then I'm going to come back on another segment to show you the rest. Okay? Your knife needs to be really sharp. So what you do is you make a loop like this, one. You're going to do the first row. This one, whichever is the top row, is the one that you're going to do. Take your knife and just make a stop cut. But you got to turn your carving as you're making the cut. Okay? Now see, this one goes underneath this one. Okay? We're going to do this top one first. And then do that bottom one. Okay. After you have that done, what you're going to do is you're going to take the edge of your knife and you're just going to cut that out. Just like so. Now if you're a beginner, this is going to be a little bit tough for you, especially if your knives are dull. Be mindful of how your the grain is running. But if your knife is sharp enough, it shouldn't matter. But it's still, you kind of still want to go with the grain as much as possible. You can see how long it's taking me to. So what I like to say is where this meets. See, we did our first cut, and then we did our undercut. This portion has to be a little deeper, right where that meets that corner, to signify that that's your next layer. Okay? See what I mean? This portion you're doing first, but when you do another one underneath, you know, that has to be a little deeper right there in the corner. Alright, so I'm gonna do this top one first. I'm gonna try to see if I can keep this in the camera. I know sometimes I go out of view. It's just a little more difficult for me to see it and to see what I'm doing. You just want to be very, very careful that you don't chip anything out. And make sure that your lines are cut very, very evenly and the same depth. All right. Okay. So technically, that is our first row. Okay, the top, the 1, 2, 3. And we did the top one. Remember, this one's underneath the other two, so we're going to clean this up just a little bit. Try not to gouge too much if you can help it. If it doesn't come out, go back and redo the stop cut. Don't tear it out, because that's when you end up with some problems every so often. Now when I get offline, I'm going to see how I clean that up. You can go back and clean some of this stuff up by just taking your knife and going back over it a little bit. So, let's see if I can remember where this one was. There should be a stop cut there somewhere. Yeah. There it is. Okay, so we're going to do that one. Is next, because that's in our next line. Alright. We're going to undercut that one. Just like so. And I'm going to try to trim this off a little bit so it doesn't have that little bump on there. Okay, see how it's coming along? Now every so often you're going to have to go back and clean a couple things up, which is fine. Let me see, I did something wrong here. Yeah, I did. It's right there. I went over it. See? Okay, now we're going to start on the next one. There's one here. Okay, I'm going to have to start on my next segment. I'll be right back.